Welcome to the Dental Brief, the world's direct, right-to-the-point podcast produced to get you the information you need to learn and grow your practice. To learn more about our guests and find links to information discussed on our show, visit our website, dentalbrief.com. On to today's episode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Dental Brief. Today, I have with us, coming from Arizona, out in the desert, Chen Yen. Say hello.
Hi. Good to hear.
So it's great to have you here. So you're kind of known as the Introverted Visionary, and as we know, we have some introverts that are in the dental community. You would agree with that, yes?
Yes, I think there are a lot of dentists who are more introverted.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the majority. I wouldn't be surprised if it's over half. I don't know that for sure, but I certainly meet a lot of dentists, as you do, and they certainly seem to be a bunch of introverts, but not just dental as well. So when we jump in here, let's just go ahead and start with kind of your background. Tell us how you started working with dentists and other healthcare professionals.
So I started out as a pharmacist working on Native American reservations. And at first I really enjoyed it, but then I started getting really tired of giving people medications. I remember going into a pharmacy one day and handing this woman her Prozac medication. And I just thought, I felt so out of alignment with what I was giving her versus what I really thought. And so there have been many times when I have seen patients come in, little kids come in with immunization, like getting immunization shots and then leaving with a cocktail of medications, even when they weren't hurting anymore. And then I would see adults come in and leaving with bagfuls of medications, 15 to 20 medications, everyday occurrence, no big deal. And I thought, what if there are other options? Because there actually are other options aside from drugs and surgery that people would know about and understand about. And what if our healthcare system were more integrated? Then people would have the best of both worlds, where they do have the amazingness of our conventional medicine world. And then they also have the benefit of these other options that are actually able to help people beyond drugs and surgery quite a bit. So, and that's what led me to, but first of all, I didn't know at the time what to do, except I felt like I had to get out of there. So the first thing that I was clear about was just, okay, well, I see other pharmacists around me unhappy, and they were counting down towards government jobs, and they'd have 15 years and 2 days on their computer screens at work.
Right.
Yeah. And I thought, that's just not a way to live. So that's when I decided to at least help them get into jobs they enjoyed more. So fast forward 5 years, I had started and grown a successful pharmacist recruiting company, sending pharmacists to different travel assignments on Native American reservations, and also placing pharmacists in other kinds of settings too. But then, hitting that wall of feeling like, because I used to think that if I just made more money, then I could do what I really cared about outside of work, but it didn't show up that way for me. So I went through this time frame where there's a lot of soul searching, came out the other end, and realized that I needed to stop pretending. Stop pretending that it was okay. I was still, in my belief, like I was still selling my soul for people to be on drugs when I had this secret life in a way. Like I still don't own a cell phone, things like that.
Yeah, and almost at that point, kind of doing it on scale, right? Helping other pharmacists in that area. So talk to me a little bit about the Introverted Visionary. Talk to me a little bit about what that is and how that came to be.
Yeah. So our clients are usually holistic dentists and other holistic health practitioners who would like to grow their practice in a way that's fulfilling for them, but they don't actually like the idea of doing a lot of different marketing approaches that are uncomfortable for them as an introvert, and also feeling like they need to always be putting themselves out there, or feeling like they have to have a high volume practice to be successful. Because did you know that 30 to 50% of people are introverts, but a lot of what's taught out there about how to grow a practice, it assumes that you're an extrovert. So a lot of practice marketing for dentists and other holistic practitioners are very extroverted. And so, so it can be exhausting. So that's what led us to help practitioners who feel like they are introverted visionaries. And then we also have clients who are in a place of where they are actually busy with their practices, but they would like to bring in another stream of income. For example, this past year has been an awakening for a lot of practices who might have had it pretty good, and we're helping patients and really enjoying good income also. What do you do when the unexpected happens? You have a lot of knowledge that can be imparted on people regardless of whether you're actually seeing them in person in your practice. So we have clients coming to us who are primarily interested in growing that side of their business. So that way they have another avenue to help people, and without it always being tied to seeing a lot more patients.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's awesome. And I get what you're saying. You mentioned, the marketing is usually something that extroverts, basically I'm paraphrasing, of course, or maybe even putting my own words on it, but you're saying that really, if you're introverted, marketing is probably going to be pretty difficult for you, or traditional marketing, or the type of marketing that's common and well known, right? YouTube videos are probably not that great for an introvert, correct?
Well, it's interesting because actually YouTube can be good for an introvert in the sense that if you're able to find efficient ways to market without having to always be putting your energy out there. I would say, because as for example, as an introvert, YouTube kinds of things, it's like you don't have to be going out of your house, right? And
Sure.
you could create things once where it's seen by people over and over again. But is it always the most favorite strategy of introverts? Maybe not, right? There are other approaches of being able to educate people and the public and other practitioners that don't require having to feel like I have to keep creating these YouTube videos. Wait, how many? Like one a week, right? So they're usually there are other approaches that are even more effective and don't require that much energy for an introvert.
Sure, that makes sense. Let's talk about, you obviously work with dentists, other types of healthcare professionals as well, but specifically in dentistry, when new potential clients and people call you and are needing help, what are some of the things that you're hearing right now that they need help with?
So one of the challenges I'm hearing quite a bit from dentists is that this, the insurance thing is a hassle and it's a headache. All the paperwork that goes into it, the billing, the tug of war with the insurance companies, and then not getting paid. I had a client of ours who was literally in that place where, if you look at what she's bringing in revenue wise, it's pretty good. But then once you look at, wait, how much am I collecting? It's very challenging, to be able to, in order to, feeling that stress and then of staff too. It's not just yourself many times. And being able to get them paid and all that. So that's something. And also some of you are getting paid less than you were in the past. So you're perhaps for one, you're more experienced now, but then now you're getting paid less than what you perhaps have even made in the past. So that's one challenge that I've seen dentists encounter. And then so some are wanting to be more cash-based, and then some are already cash-based, but then how do you actually attract more patients who are willing to pay cash and where you don't have to hear that, oh, I can't afford it, and I have to check with my husband, and we can't end up doing it, so like that can be disappointing too. So those are some of the more common things we've been hearing lately.
So what are some answers that you have for dentists that are having these problems, that are having the problems of either, getting squeezed from insurance companies or just running into more and more patients who don't seem to have the ability or don't want to pay out of pocket? What are some solutions that you have for that?
Mm-hmm. So one route that we have seen has worked really, really well for our clients. And, we've talked to thousands of practitioners, and I will say that of all the different marketing approaches out there, the one that I'm about to share has been the most impactful for a lot of our clients. And why? Because I mean, if you look at what you might be hearing you need to be doing, whether it's like, oh, you got to do your SEO and that kind of thing, or oh, maybe you need to run ads and things like that, or be on social media more. It's like, well, who has time for things like that in terms of social media and having to always post on there? And even if you do actually post on there, hire people to post on there for you, it's like, just how much of a relationship could someone have, or even if you're running ads in other places outside of social media, right? Like, just how much of a relationship could someone really have with you in just seeing an ad? It's very limited. And which is why many times if you do things like that to market the practice, it ends up taking more time to be able to actually have someone go from just curious about it to maybe being interested a bit more to then finally coming into the practice. And so one avenue that really speeds things up is by being able to educate people about what you have to offer. And because it's one of the, for example, through speaking or virtual speaking. And because if people aren't coming to you mainly yet, because they don't actually know how you can help them. But if you're able to be in front of them, educate them, and they see if they resonate with you, they're more likely to come in. Because it's such a personal relationship as their dentist. They're experiencing you or your practice, your culture. It can happen faster through something like educating people through speaking.
Sure, and I would agree with you that I would certainly agree with you that nurturing an audience is really important, right? You need to do that, and if you're not doing that, if you're not educating your patients, somebody else certainly is, right, or potentially is, and I think we see that all the time. I talk about it with, one of the companies that advertises clear aligners through the mail, right? If you're not educating your customers, they're going to, and your patients, they're going to. So that's a really great point. So Chen, go ahead and you have an offer for our audience today. Why don't you tell us about that?
Sure. So, one of the things about in terms of being able to educate people to the point where they feel like, oh, I see you as an expert. I'm coming in, right? Like, I see you as a go-to dentist, because there's a difference between just educating versus also inspiring them to become new patients. And it's about, do you have the right topic you're talking about? Are you, and you could do these things in different formats. You could just create what I advocate for my clients is just creating one. Not like 10, not like 5, not like 2, but just one. One signature talk or webinar that you can use over and over again in front of different audiences. And then, when you're speaking, people, and you could do it in front of different organizations and different places. And when you're doing that, like, people see you as a go-to dentist.
Sure.
They see you in a different limelight. And so, but you need to have the right angle of the topic. You need to also have a signature. Number 2, you need to have a signature talk that actually brings in patients instead of it just being informative. Number 3, you also need to have an audience to speak in front of. So one quick way to actually have an audience to speak in front of is by you can certainly host your own, for example, your webinars and things like that, but you could also be interviewed. You could also be doing webinars or Zoom or talks in front of other organizations. So what kinds of places could they be? So I decided to put together something that you all can have access to, that's free download, where you could have access to the top 10 best places to speak and get patients quick start guide that can help you with getting that going. And so one avenue where you can get seen as a go-to practitioner too is either, you could either be interviewed, but you could also interview other practitioners. Have you ever thought about that? In terms of the kinds of services or things that you're wanting to talk about, there are also opportunities for collaboration with other practitioners. And one way is to interview them, and then they could also interview you. And it also just gives you both more visibility. So, but what to actually say in that interview and how to also end up getting more patients from that too. So that's the script for that I decided to include for those of you who have an interest in that too. So you can go to And, and certainly an opportunity to book in with us to, dig into your biggest friction points in the practice, your biggest frustrations, and how we can help you grow faster in the introverted way. So you can go to www.getbookedspeaking.com/podcast. So www.getbookedspeaking.com/podcast. And then click on the link there and put your get your free templates there that you can use right away to help you with getting this going.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Chen, we really appreciate you being here. I want to just make sure our audience knows your website, that it's introvertedvisionary.com, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And thank you so much again, Chen. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode. Did you know you can weigh in on today's topic on Facebook? Search The Dental Brief on Facebook or visit our website, dentalbrief.com, and just follow the link. We look forward to having you join us again on another episode of The Dental Brief.